Alright, hey guys, it's Dustin here. This is going to be the second video that I'm going to be doing. I actually was planning on doing it a little earlier. I know it's already been almost a week since I did the first one. But on the day I was planning to do it, I had the birds out and a Cooper's hawk attacked. Grabbed one of my birds, one of my racing homers. It got free, but the hawk came back a while later with its, I guess it was its mate. They were working together and they carried off one of my roller hens, so I hadn't really gotten around to it. Today I'm going to let the birds out again for the first time since Wednesday is when it happened. So here are the birds that I've got. This is my loft. It's not very big, 4 by 4 by 4 on legs. I think it's 3 feet off the ground. It's got, if you're going to have a raised loft, this is really important, this wire. It keeps predators from being able to hide under it, but with this being so tall, that's not really the issue. The big thing here is there's a lot of poop down there, but inevitably there's a lot of food down there too. And if you can't keep the pigeons from getting in there, they'll go in there and eat. And that food's really not as good for them, but also it makes it hard to train them because you want them to come into the loft. So I've actually got a couple of rollers in here, 2 of them. The rest are racing homers. And I'm expanding. This my new loft is going to be 8 long by 8 wide and about 7 feet tall, but this just goes to show you don't have to have anything real big, especially starting out with. So this pigeon here is the one that got attacked by the Cooper's hawk and got free and ran to the deck. I'm actually not sure what to call the color on it. I think it might be a smoky. I'm going to see if I can't do that there. Of course, all the birds are going to come out now. But here's what that looks like. I think that might be a smoky. But I'm not positive. She was actually having a little bit of trouble flying at the time, and I'm not sure why. It's happened before. I'm not really sure what the problem was. Hopefully it's resolved now. I've had it happen once before. So we'll see. Nope. She's not looking so good. She looks heavy. She's going to go land over there. As long as no hawk comes by, that's not a big deal. But I don't know, I have to keep an eye on her. There's some of the racing homers right there. There's actually one of the rollers. I think one of the rollers came out with them, which I was hoping to keep from happening, but I didn't think about it, left the door open. I got one more racing homer in here. Then I've got, this is a white king that was given to me. That racing homer, the blue bar, cannot fly. He can fly. He can't fly very well. And his wing is messed up. And I did that to him unintentionally. It was a mistake that I made, and I'll explain what I did and why in a later video, and how you can you can make sure that doesn't happen. But this other one, this is a black racing homer that I just recently got. She doesn't like me very much, but her wings are, they're not clipped. The feathers are actually pulled. I'll explain why in a different video. It's for training purposes, and I don't do that with any young birds, but she's a few years old. I can't remember right off the top of my head. She might be like 2011 bird. I'm not sure. 2012. She was born 2012, and it's 2016, so I wouldn't want her trying to fly back to her previous owner's house, so now she can't fly at all. But that's a bald-headed roller I've got up there. You can definitely mix pigeons. I don't know of any breeds of pigeons that cannot live together. It's just for flying purposes. You don't really want to mix rollers and racing homers. If you see, sorry, I'm wearing polarized glasses. Let me take them off so I can see the screen. One of those right there, the one that got out, is a blue check roller, so it's hard to tell apart from the other, especially on video. She mingles with the racing homers pretty well, but she'll fly up above them, and it just, I used to let my rollers fly with my racing homers, but if there's not about an equal amount, if you only have a few rollers, they get tired of trying to keep up with the racing homers. There's that racing homer that isn't flying well right now. I'm not sure why, but yeah, they get tired of trying to keep up with the faster racing homers, and they'll go land in the trees, and it just starts a chain reaction of problems. So, and they can teach your racing homers to sit in trees too. I've had that happen. So I would not recommend flying them together. On the occasion, it doesn't hurt, but I would not do it regularly. While they're flying, I'm not going to let them fly very long because it's that one racing homer's with them. I'm going to bring it down. This is the one that was in the first video in my room. I'm trying to pair her up to this one. They're both done rollers, which is a blue spread, which would make them black. But then they've got another gene on top of it called dilute, makes them lighter color. That's actually her father. I'm breeding her back to him. Take this. I've got this on top of there so hawks can't look straight down on them and see them, and so that no dew gets in there at night. A little more light in there, but I'm going to breed them back to make more that look like them. And then after I do that, I'm going to breed those to my brown bald-headed rollers. I've got, again, one in here. It's I'm not going to breed them back to that one, but that's what it is. Breed them back and have make a khaki colored roller. There's different names for it, but it's a khaki color. It's just a lighter shade of that brown. And I say brown, it's actually an ash red with a spread gene that makes them brown. But it's the ash red gene. Walk down here to the woods. I've got a second smaller loft, and this is where I did have my rollers because I don't have a lot of them right now. I've got a pair of brown, it's again ash red spread, but I call them brown bald-headed rollers, and see, they're hungry. They want me to feed them. They'd really like it if I let them out. This is Cinnamon, the hen, and that's her father, Hershey's. I'm going to breed them back together to, this is the hen. The other one was the sibling of that one, and that's both their dads, and it was a cock, so of course I can't breed it back to the father, and it just doesn't look as good. The spread gene didn't turn out as well. But see if I can't camera up here, I'll show you what this looks like. But I got, hopefully you can see that. This one's got a little bit of brown right there, but it's pretty nice bald-headed roller. Looks better on that side. And you got white wings. There's a few feathers didn't line up just right there. And then I like for all of mine to have a nice white tail. One thing that about her father, now I've got her father that I'm breeding her back to, he's got a bit more brown on his face, and I believe as far as shows are concerned, which I don't do, I don't think they're supposed to have that. I think it gives it a little more character, makes them easier to tell apart too if you have a lot of them. But then he's got an all white tail again too. I don't really like those feathers right there, but again, it's something I can breed away from. And he's got nice white flights. So that's what I got down here. It's going to be offspring of them probably that I breed back to the offspring of the first pair I showed you, unless I actually breed, you know, some of those I just showed you, just one of these. This is going to be split up. Forgive me, my camera, it shuts off after 10, or it stops recording and will actually shut down after 10 minutes of me not doing anything with it, which is great if I accidentally leave it on, but not great if I want to take a longer video. So there's going to be a break there in the middle of the video, but you didn't miss anything. A couple seconds of me walking across the yard. But I'm going to call the birds down now, because I don't want to take chances with that one pigeon that isn't flying real well. And I'm still not sure what's wrong with her. I've had that happen to one other pigeon before. I'll probably edit the video onto the end. This right here is a white king that was given to me, and white kings, they make good pumpers, which I'll explain that in a later video, but where they feed babies, they foster babies, they do a good job of that. But also, even though they're really big, bigger than a racing homer, they're really tame, so they make good droppers. My birds I feed them pretty well, and by pretty well I don't mean a lot, I mean not a lot. So usually I don't even really need a dropper, but I fed them a good bit last night, not thinking about that I was going to do this video. So also this the blue bar that can't fly right, he makes I use him as a dropper too, but again, he's a racing homer cock, so you got to be. He doesn't make as good a dropper because sometimes he might decide he wants to attack or try and mate birds that are coming down. But I feed a pelleted food. I just dug that in there. I'm not going to feed them all of that, but they're smart enough to know when I've got food or not. See, they haven't even gone in. And that's not really a good thing when you're going to race. You actually would rather them go in regardless of whether they know you got food or not. And I'll work on that with my young birds, and I'll race next year, but for the time being I'm not real concerned about it. But in they go. That white king, it really actually doesn't have any trap training, almost none. I just tossed it out here one day not long ago when I was letting them go in, and white kings, they're just so tame and they don't fly well, so even though it could potentially fly away, I'm just not worried about it. See, that's that pigeon that's not wanting to fly right, and I really am not sure why. I'm a little worried about it. But I had it happen with an older roller once, and it got a lot worse than what she is. And then she just went back to normal after a few days. I'll try and put a video on the end of that. But and my trap is pretty simple. I've got a hole cut in it. It's 4 by 4 inches, I think. Might be 5. I think it's 4. And I thought that would be good enough. They wouldn't be able to fly back through it, but they can. So I had to bend over a coat hanger and staple that in there, and they can't get through that. Then I'll try and show you some of the birds. So 4 of these racing homers, and I'll probably do a video on it eventually, I raised from babies with formula. This being one of them. This is my favorite pigeon. His name is Coco. He's a ash red T-check, and he rides around on my shoulder. He's already been eating some, and he wants to go in there and eat, so I'm not going to mess with him too much, but I'll probably make a video just about him at some point. But he's been up to Hanging Rock with me. He hiked up to Hanging Rock on my shoulder. So even though he's a good racing homer, that's not all they're limited to. I mean, they make good pets. This racing homer I didn't get from anybody. I actually found it while same time I went to Hanging Rock with that pigeon. It was up there on Hanging Rock, this blue bar. It's a hen. It's from I think it was Baltimore, the Baltimore Pigeon Club. A member of the Baltimore Pigeon Club, or at least its band is from there. I was able to contact the club, but never did hear back on whose it was. So, but it flies well. I've flown it home once. I haven't done a lot with flying them home because I don't have many. That's that blue check roller. She was given to me by a bird rehabilitator who's a friend of mine, and she does not like me. But let me see if I can grab her and show you something about her. So something about her, and I don't know what it is. Her flight feathers are that odd color. Kind of I'm really not even sure what to call that color, really. I don't know what it is. Her tail feathers were that color too, but you can see they're not now. When she molted last time, they stopped being that color, but I don't know what's up with that. If anyone would like to comment and tell me why they think her feathers are that color, what gene that is, what it's called, that'd be great, because I really don't know. I tried to figure out who she belonged to. I figure a roller guy would probably be more likely to want their bird back than someone with racing homers, but it was a custom band. It really was ultimately designed to fail. It just had a last name on it. There's no good way of tracking the owner. I love all my birds, and I've got quite a few in here, but those are really the unique ones I wanted to show you. Other than that, I mean, I got blue checks, another blue bar in here, but they, you know, I love them, but there's nothing that makes them real special from any other pigeons, so I'm not really going to show them, but here's that blue bar that can't fly I was talking about. Look at his wing. That's his problem right there. These feathers that should be right here, they don't grow back in right. They start coming up fine, and they make it just barely past those smaller feathers on the wings, and then they just kind of die and shrivel up. I guess they fall out. I'll explain why, and it was my fault. It was an accident, but it was my fault, and I'll share what happened in a later video. But that's my loft. Not very big. You can see I've got nests in here, but mine won't breed during the winter, unfortunately. So I'll try and put a video of that roller that was having problems. Same problem as this racing homer on the end, but that's my loft.